with your host, Lexington Steele, and co-host, Andre Lavelle, and Johnny Depp on LA Talk Radio. Let's get it in.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ManCave live show here on LA Talk Radio.
Yep.
It is a wonderful Thursday night. Gentlemen in the house.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
what's going on?
What's happening?
Oh, without question, it is July 16th, and this is episode number 32 of the ManCave. We are pushing on heavy talk, hard talk, real talk, barbershop speak. Here we are, Andre Lavelle.
Yes, it's hotter than whiskey breath outside, man.
Wow.
Johnny Depp, Pierce courtesy of Formula R3, Rise, Rock,
And Restore.
Tell us about that, JD.
R to the third power, baby. All natural male enhancement. You know, no gimmicks, no prescriptions, just results. Go pick it up. FormulaR3.com.
And what's she gonna do? She gonna love you in?
Hey, she'll love you in the morning.
Well,
She'll
also
love
at
you a
night,
long
too, right?
time, too. Yeah.
Now, before we go any further, I want to make sure we make this. JD, you had a change in your Twitter, so let's tell everybody out there where they continue to follow you on your new Twitter account.
Yeah, man. Some joker, man, hacked me, man. So there's a lot of imposters out there, but it's now I'm at the real Johnny Depp. Real Johnny Depp. That's where you can catch me at. Real Johnny Depp.
Okay. All right. So what's going on out there, people? There's a number of stories that we were tracking earlier, but we are anticipating the arrival. Are we not, Andre?
I haven't heard back yet, but hopefully they will show up.
Hopefully.
Jeff Brown and Miss Melanie Camacho.
Okay, so we will hold those spaces available to our esteemed guests as they make it into the studio, coming through serious LA traffic, as is the norm around this
Yeah,
particular
man.
time of
Yes,
day.
sir. Yes, sir.
Now, gentlemen, we do have a few things that we have been tracking all week, but we, of course, would be remiss if we did not mention the tragedy that's taking place in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where a strange gunman felled 4 Marines and harmed a number of others before being shot dead by the Chattanooga State Police, as I understand. And it is being considered an act of domestic terrorism. So as we continue to watch over this particular event, we do want to send Godspeed to the families of those fallen Marines as they move on to greener pastures.
So who shot the Marines?
Well, I don't have the name in front of me, but they are making assertions that it may be a person, a lone wolf, that he is not affiliated directly with any of the other, whether it's ISIS or what have you. Although they do say that there are divisions or factions, if you will, of ISIS throughout the United States, statewide, state by state rather. And of course, Tennessee would be no different, and evidently so.
So why is that considered terrorism? Because he killed Marines?
Well, I guess it was 2. He went to a recruiting office, a military recruitment office.
Yeah, it's the government. Yeah,
Right. And the question has been, or as of late, has been whether or not, or why is it not that those people that are working at those recruitment offices are unarmed? I mean, after they are soldiers. And whether they are stateside or in an area of impending doom or danger, whether or not they should be handling handguns, or at least some sort of protections.
I mean,
But why should they need it? They're not in combat.
Right.
They're just
I
civilians.
mean,
working in office.
the way it looks now, we in combat every day. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Just to protect yourself. But I want to put something else on the plate too. I was looking also. There's a young lady by the name of Amanda Bland, who was she was traveling from Maryland to Texas on a job interview, and she happened to get pulled over by the cops, and she got restrained and everything, the whole 9 yards, and then they put her in jail. And 2 days later, they found her dead.
Oh, they're trying to say she committed suicide.
They're trying to say she
Yeah,
committed
right.
suicide. So, just condolences to her family, but I want to put that on the plate. We don't want that going under the radar, because that type of behavior is still going on, And it's so unfortunate that these Tennessee cops got shot.
Soldiers.
Soldiers. Okay, soldiers. Yeah. So, but I don't know, man. These cops, they still trigger happy and this going off. So, just wanted to put that on the table. But on to the next subject.
Well, no.
But why wouldn't the situation in North Carolina be considered terrorism?
What?
South
Domestic,
Carolina?
South Carolina. Why wouldn't that be considered domestic terrorism.
Oh, when the church got shot up?
Yeah.
Well, somebody was trying to call it that because they thought he was part of a some type of operation or cult, but they didn't really go into it. They just said he just.
Well, it was a supremacy situation.
Well,
It's a hate crime, definitely.
maybe a hate crime for sure, but in these, the differential would be that in South Carolina, it was an attack on a group on a religious basis. In this case, it's considered an attack on the United States, and then thusly domestic violence, by definition, would be an attack against the state or the nation.
Well, he said, wasn't it his objective to start a race war? That's an attack on the U.S.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yeah, I get your
No,
point. I know
no,
where
I
you're
wouldn't.
going.
I wouldn't. I don't know. It's argumentative as to whether that could be considered an attack on the countrywide.
Well, if
Yeah.
if you are trying to set off a war,
Mhm.
I would think that's against the whole of the government.
Okay, well, it depends. I mean, why did the Oklahoma City bombing years ago of the federal building in Oklahoma, that was considered domestic violence?
Domestic
By
Was it-
one
that
man.
wasn't that terrorism?
Timothy McVeigh,
Yeah,
I believe,
they-
right?
wasn't
That was deemed domestic
that was-
violence, right?
Oh, it wasn't deemed terrorism?
Or domestic terrorism.
I
or
think
domestic
it
violence. Same
was.
difference.
Yeah.
Okay, versus an act versus, what do you call it?
Stupidity.
Well, no, it just begs a question. Certainly, whether an attack on a group of people on a religious basis or not religious basis, a group of people celebrating their religion by way of prayer.
But he
and
didn't attack them because they're Christians. He attacked them because they were
black.
black.
Right,
Yeah.
right. In this case, they were attacked because they were American officials. So there is a little bit more in terms of defining moments. This is considered more of an attack against the state.
Well, I think it depends on what your objective is.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're trying to set it off, which
Right.
he said that's what he was. He was part of a white supremacy group.
Mm-hmm.
He got backed by groups trying to bail him out, and all these
Now-
people supporting him.
Now, was that might have been the essence of Lone Wolf, what we saw in South Carolina? Although he proposed that he had a number of followers, but I think he was indeed acting alone. Whereas this guy was acting alone as well and was apprehended and shot.
Yeah.
So at least with this particular one, they actually followed through in the not even the capture, but the execution.
Mr. Jeff Brown is here.
Oh, I thought the guy
Yeah.
killed himself. He didn't kill. Oh, the cops
No, the
killed
cops
him.
killed him.
Okay.
Jeff Brown has entered the building. What's
Yes,
going on,
fellas,
man?
What's going on? I
Good
didn't
to
know
see
I was
you
going to
tonight.
have a couple of my heroes in stereo. I know John, he was going to be here
Yeah,
too.
I'm in the building,
in the
man.
house.
I'm
What's
in
going
the
on,
building.
How you doing, Jeff?
What's
All
happening,
right.
brother?
Good you, man. Good to see you again.
Yeah, man. What's happening?
man, long time.
Glad
I don't
you
get no
show
love.
up.
Yeah.
Drake,
Hey,
you all the love.
Well, you don't get they kind of love because I've only heard about the stuff you do. Wow. I've actually seen.
yeah, man. We put our business in the
Hey
street.
now.
That's what's up.
So we were just getting into a little bit of the current events that we have seen, and briefly having mentioned the incident in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
By way of comparison to what we've seen in Charleston, South Carolina, a number of these things continue to hammer us in the United States. And of course, JD had brought up the unfortunate circumstance of a woman being gunned down on a side of road on her way to an interview.
Well, she wasn't gunned
Wow.
down. They
choked her out.
They apprehended her and put her face in the ground.
Right.
You know the normal procedure, the mishandling
Texas,
of
right?
in Texas, and
No,
They-
that's
they-
the slamming of her head on the ground.
yeah,
She
Oh, this is
landed-
law
yeah,
enforcement.
Yeah,
This
law
is- yeah.
enforcement.
Oh,
She
okay.
couldn't hear out of her
slamming-
ear.
Yeah,
She
slammed
couldn't
on
move
the
her right
ground.
arm.
Yeah, all the knee in the back.
Right.
You know the routine. And then they took her to jail, but
Yeah.
they said 2 days later she
She committed suicide.
Right.
committed
now,
suicide.
she had been not necessarily an activist, as one might say, but she was very, very forward with her desire that in all cases people use their phones and so forth to monitor the policing of officers, and it's ironically enough, she was felled by by what she espoused, and as she was being brought to the police car, she was telling people, "Thank you for having taped it." And it's ironic that she had been such a proponent of people being very, very assertive about, capturing everything on film or on their phones, and luckily that has come to light that we can actually bring these officers to justice. It seems to be something that has plagued African American society as of late.
Same thing in Glendale. The Mexican guy got gunned down. They got a clip of it, and the dude got his hands up, and the cop gunned him down. And I think his family just got like a $4.9 million settlement from the city. I mean, they got something, but they should have got
That's
more
vulgar.
than that.
Yeah.
I think it's vulgar.
Yeah.
From a number of places to put a particular number on a human life
Yeah.
that says, "Hey, you common people, here's a lot of money for you.
Right.
This is a stick of gum for us."
Right.
That, and I think what the thing that upsets me the most. How far do I have to watch my language?
No, it's all wide. It's
The
wide
thing
open.
that pisses me the fuck off
Right.
There it is. Barbershop talk,
is
baby.
the concept of good cops and bad cops. Now let me just put this. Let's
Okay.
just say we were all, you and I are of a tribe, and you are of a tribe. Like, let's go back to feudal days.
Okay.
Okay. My son or your nephew does something hard, rapes one of this tribe's women.
Right.
And he's smoking gun guilty. Everybody knows he did it. Everybody, there's no shadow of a doubt. If we do not give that boy to them, then these two clans are at war.
Right.
Period. So the concept that there are good cops is shit on when you good cops don't push the bad cops forward. When you hear that the police did this. No, the police did not do this. Some horrible motherfucker in a uniform did this. But y'all don't push him up. Y'all, we have this, and not all of us are this way. All of you are this way to me, because I can't tell when you pull me over which one you are.
But let me ask you this, and it begs the question: is it a necessity for there to be a circling of the wagons by way of the police officers in circumstances like this to protect those that are good? Because obviously one bad apple spoils a whole bunch, but in the circling of the wagons that we see perpetually, that's why we're not seeing them usher out those bad apples.
So your question is it?
Is it necessary that they do circle the wagons in these circumstances?
Of course, it's necessary in order to.
Now, I'm not an advocate. I'm just laying it on the table. I don't advocate for it. I'm just saying.
Of course, it's necessary if your agenda is to promote this fascist setup. The way we're actually under a certain amount of austerity. To be honest, the way that this is going down, to me, what needs to happen is, unless and until the when something comes out like this, because if you and I go rob a liquor store, kill a cop, adult entertainment star Johnny Depp and stand-up comedian Jeff Brown, faces, clips,
it's
all
a wrap.
out there. Now, if we're in the same car and we get pulled over and you raise your hands too fast and we get shot and killed, the officers that did it, we may never hear their names.
Right.
Oh no.
That's got to change.
Oh no.
That's got to change. You need to be,
Because they're always they'll suspend them with pay to get them out of the limelight.
Right.
Look at the thing in Ferguson.
So I shoot you, I get a vacation.
Pretty much. That dude, man, I mean, he didn't get punished, man. He got rewarded, man. He stepped off with a settlement, and then you have a family where they bury their child. It's just getting ridiculous, man.
Now, Mike Brown's family has just been awarded a financial.
I think 5-6 billion, and I think they were supposed to counter.
Billion?
No,
million.
Million.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Something
I was
that,
like,
right.
well,
Then
they got a B?
No, they didn't get a beat.
The state of
Okay.
New York has the state of New York has dealt out tens of millions of dollars cumulatively, going all the way back to Abner, Luana, some 15 or so years ago. So the Brown family has been awarded.
But you know what? I mean, that may be all well and good,
Right.
but like Jeff said earlier, you ain't gonna bring my child back.
Certainly
And
not.
it doesn't
No.
deter cops from doing
And
it
it's still
At all.
and still do it.
unless they have to pay it out their own pocket or have
you
some
go.
kind of situation where it affects them personally. If the city's gonna cover me and my boy still got my back and I can still go to work,
Cowboy out.
yeah,
It's
like, what's
five,
gonna stop me from doing it again?
5.6 million sounds like a lot of money, but to them, that's like he said, it's like a piss in the bucket. Like 5 point here, go ahead and take that, and
Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
there
Yeah,
it is.
and it's not, it's awarding to me, but it's not punitive to you. I've said this about reparations, which is for those of you listening, anything you see me do, I use bootleg software. That's how I get my reparations. I always use bootleg software. But the concept of reparations to me could be very easily solved is if everybody that the Klan calls nigga is tax free.
Hey,
Yeah, we can start there. All black people not taxed. We don't pay tax. How about that?
sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a plan.
Well, I don't pay that. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
hey.
Don't incriminate yourself. Watch your step out here.
That would be great to implement. Difficult, to say the least.
You
Oh,
know,
of course.
you know Sam.
No, there's no easy.
You know Sam on his money.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be almost ritualistic. It's been a horrible summer, and the rituals of continually burying are having to bury people of African American descent.
I think
it's
regularly.
ridiculous,
It's
bro.
ridiculous. at this
Why
point.
don't we go back to where it used to be, where you had cops who lived in the community,
And had to live there in order to work there.
and you have you have
Is that possible
feet
in
on the
today's
ground.
society though, where people?
That's old school.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but do officers have a chance to determine their own where they want to actually work and serve?
No, I don't think so.
Because I had a friend of mine that lives in Long Beach, and he wanted to serve in Venice, and he got the Venice placement where they get to drive the Forerunners on the beach.
Well, you know what?
And he lives in Long Beach.
Maybe it goes by seniority, but for the most part, if it's anything like the service, like the military, which that's all the police force is, that's the military.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. They put you where they need you, or they put you where they want to put you.
So my point is having beat cops, because when I was in school, we had Mr. Friendly. You knew the guy in the neighborhood, so therefore you could identify with him. He knew
the knuckleheads.
Yeah.
He knew the good kids.
Exactly. So if we have people who worked in the community, or walked the streets to get to know the people, then they won't be so apt to shoot the people because they have a connection with the people. And then that would also we reconnect.
Well, okay, wait. There seems to be a problem, whereas as we see the police force as it is almost an extension of the military, paramilitary, if you will. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's
What you
becoming.
see happening is if there's a paramilitary circumstance or institution, who are they policing? Now, that whom they are policing thereby is the enemy. In that case, we as African Americans don't want to become a part of that police force, and so we're not serving on the police force, which nullifies the opportunity to have people working in the neighborhoods they grew up in.
Well,
If not, but
yes,
if
sir.
if every black person who lived in the neighborhood, right, we would like to, of course, become police, so we could, work within our neighborhoods. But if we are looking at we're finding ourselves on the wrong end of a gun barrel held by a police officer, I don't want to be a part of that force, and I'm not going to be able to police my own neighborhood because I'm not in the academy.
Okay, let's go back to what used to be on the side of most police cars. Protect
Serve
and serve. What was being
Who are you protecting?
protected and served?
Yeah, who are you protecting?
Commerce.
Who are you serving?
Commerce.
Right.
The police are
It's
not
not us,
there, and
not
they do
you.
not give a flying rat's ass about you. They are there to make sure that the business owners can stay in business,
sir.
and that you know where to safely take your money and spend
Yes,
it.
sir.
That is what they are about. That is, honestly, as quiet as it's kept, was the origins of the mafia. Back in Italy, the police didn't care about regular Italian people. They had no interest in them at all. They let the bodies would lay in the street. In order to get their needs served, what they used to do was go to the leaders of the neighborhood. This is where you go get your loans.
yeah,
This is
right.
where if I got a problem with
Right,
you,
right.
Uncle Vito.
That's
and
kinda
his
like the
boys.
gangs. That's
yes.
like the gang. Let's
the
go to the
gang,
leader and
Dude,
he'll
in
get it.
Chicago, we from Chicago.
What's going on out there, brother? Talk to me.
I'm gonna tell you. And I
And
shout out
Melanie
to,
is here.
Yes.
What's
Hey,
going,
Mel.
what's going on? All my young brothers are popping each other like it's
Here's
Pop Tarts, man.
Here's what's going on with Chicago. In the words of Corey Holcomb, bitch-made niggas is running the street now. Straight up. That's the truth. Is that you have there's no code. It used to be, let's just say, you wronged me.
okay.
And we stayed in the same neighborhood. Your mama could be getting off the bus. Hey, Miss Johnson, how you doing? The gang members is looking for you. Would take your mama's groceries and walk her home. You seen Johnny?
Yeah.
They ain't after her. They ain't riding by your house, shooting in the window, shooting up your little cousins. They looking for you. And they kept my neighborhood safe. I grew up on 60th and Damon, and wasn't no raping going on around there. Wasn't no robberies. You know why? Because now you finna fuck our money up. You're not gonna fuck our money up having the police around here.
There
So
you
we
go.
got it, officer friendly.
Right.
You ain't even got to
We
come
don't need
around
to come through here.
And that's
That's
an
gone.
extension of
Wow.
community policing.
Right.
That basically. So if we were to each one teach one, check our own folk, we wouldn't have to have a cop.
Well, we scared of the youngest now.
Yeah.
My
of
uncles
course-
wasn't scared of
No,
us.
speak for yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to definitely.
building?
I ain't
Who's in the
scared.
building?
Let's
The
take a
youngins
second.
can go down just like the old ones.
I'm going to take a second to announce the arrival of Melanie Camacho.
How y'all
Hello,
doing?
Melanie.
Hey.
All right.
Coming in on the buddy, and I guess
You know,
no,
so no,
Chicago.
just dive right in, Melanie. We were talking some heavy stuff in regards
I
to
see, and, you
are we
know-
in a police state?
You know what? I think we're putting ourselves there. I mean, you know, there are things that we're doing. The police are afraid also. It's not like it's just, you know, these people that are going out to protect us are coming and being ambushed. They're killing cops now. So it's taking it where they're going to make it where we're going to have to live in a police state unless now you can take your child and you can mold your child and you can show your child the right way, and your child could get with the wrong group of friends and everything you taught out the
out
damn
the
door.
window.
Out the door.
Yeah,
There
that's
are
real.
a lot
That's
of
real.
kids in Chicago who are not part of the gang. Their family is not part of the gang, and they are 6 feet under.
Absolutely.
I've been reading the news.
Absolutely.
A lot of
Yeah.
innocent children have been killed. Now, maybe in the neighborhood that you grew up in, they're policing that neighborhood.
Oh,
but-
no, not no more.
Oh,
No, I'm
yeah.
talking about the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
No, no.
That's hardcore.
You know,
'70s, baby.
You know,
Yeah.
back in the
Yep.
day when they were saying that it took a village to raise a neighborhood, to raise the village, crack destroyed all that.
Woo-woo.
You don't want a crackhead telling your kids what to do because they your neighbor.
That's what's
and
up.
they're an adult.
Right.
No, keep your crackhead out of my business. I got this.
Right.
Don't you tell my child nothing. So I think drugs essentially destroyed all that.
Well, is there some merit to the suggestion that the decentralization of the African American family then is at the root of all this?
Come on, bruh. This is a soup.
Come with
I
it.
don't
This is
No.
a soup.
Come on.
This is, okay.
Come on.
The concept of leaving the ghetto was non-existent in segregation. That's why we had our own hospitals, our own businesses, our own. We had black bus lines that white folks was taking. The concept that we have to be like you in order to be better, we have to be with you, destroyed black people. And I don't know, I make a lot of enemies with this. I'm gonna go and say it. I don't see Jackie Robinson as a hero. I see that as the beginning of the end. Because think about this. Think about Frank Thomas. Think about every black baseball player that's a beast right now and came since him. Where would you have had to see them play?
Negro League.
Negro leagues. But
you
we
get-
gave
took
it
the
away.
money, yeah,
we
took the
gave
money
it
out the
away.
community.
Everything
I see what you're
that's
saying.
think about, and
Okay,
this
you
goes
speak
deep.
on that quite often as well.
This goes deep.
Right.
Think about Carl Kanai. Niggas is so happy to tell you what's played out that's theirs. Is Levi's played out?
Hello.
No. Here's what
Fubu.
happens. Fubu. Here's what
Fubu
happens.
played out, yeah.
Here's what happens.
Willie
Even
Ware.
Fat Farm.
Yeah, Fat Farm.
Right.
Here's what
Baby
happens.
Fat.
Here's what
All
happens.
that.
Really?
Fat Farm. Let's just say y'all own Fat Farm.
Okay.
And I'm rich and part of the system. Fat Farm is worth $100 million. I'll come to you and give you $200 million for it. And by the rules of capitalism, not the rules of family, not the rules that the people who own capitalism go by. They don't go by those rules. They give them to you. I'm going to give you $200 million for a $100 million business. That makes all the sense in the world until you realize that I'm going to take your business and in 18 months, you're going to be able to buy this shit in Marshalls. That's because
And they gonna
I
spread
did
it
not
and-
buy FUBU to make FUBU bigger. It's like Who
Or
Framed
to
Ro-
make my pockets
Thank
bigger,
you. My pocket's
obviously.
big already. Like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I bought the red car so I could dismantle it. Yes, that's all that's being done. Is that our businesses are being bought so that we don't have anything to trade, which makes us only consumers in a fucking fish
So
bowl.
is that why Russell Simmons is meditating now? No, I'm just because.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Well, now,
Yeah, he
now,
sold
Jeff,
Fat Farm.
Jeff,
He
you
sold
make
Fat
you
Farm.
make the
Yeah,
assertion
got
that
that
there's an effort, an effort to destabilize the black dollar
Absolutely.
by consuming them almost in a.
Yeah, but
you know,
they'll block that. They'll stop you from by buying all the black businesses, so you can't invest into
Well,
the
now
black
I will
community.
argue that maybe that is that not just a practice of capitalism, not necessarily anything directed towards the black dollar. Now I understand the destabilization of the black economy by way of Black Wall Street and the Negro Leagues and entertainment and many facets that are owned by blacks.
Yes.
Right, but in terms of swallowing up other companies, that we see corporate raiders do that, notwithstanding one's color of the owner.
Right.
Well, here's where you get into murky water. Whenever you try to directly compare the black situation or the black experience to any other,
Right.
it
The
is
gay
unique. Thank you.
experience or anything.
And what happens is the black experience is a ramp upon which everybody else
Right.
uses to get where they're going. Like the feminist movement. I laugh at black women in the feminist movement because name me a time in this country in the past 425 years that a black man has had anything to keep from you but dick. We don't have nothing to keep from you. That is a situation between a white woman and her man.
Yeah.
That ain't got shit to do with you.
Right, because
go back
most
to
black men broke as hell.
Thank you.
How
How come broke dick always need a ride?
Always.
Bam.
But no, you're going all the way back to
Broke dick is good dick, though.
So you're
Not
talking about
necessarily
suffrage and the right to
for a
vote.
minute,
Yeah.
for a
was
minute.
something that was espoused by the white American female, and then against her own male, because blacks, we didn't have the right anyhow.
No, that's who
right.
that's who the NAACP
Well, that's founded by white
was
women.
not designed
it's not for us.
to help black people. I don't. If
What do you think about the white woman that was really doing something to help black people
Who was phony.
pretending to
Pretending
be
to-
black?
right,
But
misrepresenting.
What do I-
she
That
was
broke black dick.
benefiting the black community
what do I-
with her efforts.
She
Even though she was faking it, she was doing things that were beneficial to her community.
Here's my issue. How do you in any way indict a person for infiltrating an organization that still refers to itself, and I guess us, as colored people?
Color.
Right.
Who's
Yeah. The
who still
National
uses
I don't
that?
give a fuck. I don't
That-
care.
that's
What
something
has
your
the
grandmother would
Thank you.
say.
What
Yeah,
has the
right.
NAACP done relevant in the past 50 years? I'll wait.
Well, they paid for some college.
They had a couple of award
Well,
shows.
they
and
gave
gave
your
awards for the
man.
Oscars.
They gave your man an award for the Clippers, the owner of the Clippers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Twice.
Another place we dropped the ball.
But they say that that's his payola. They paid him back for his contributions.
He never should have.
I'm
We,
sure
we
he
never
did.
should have.
There are a lot of
it just
contributors.
but as to the public eye, that don't look good.
No.
He never should have.
With that
Well,
lady,
that didn't
was,
look good. The ESPYs last night. Come on.
yeah.
Here we are with so many athletes who actually made a difference. The guy with the daughter dying of cancer, and then Bruce. I commend him for being a 65-year-old man who finally says, "Look, I'm gay." Great,
you
great,
need an
wonderful.
award for
but
that,
do
huh?
you need a 30-minute reception speech?
Absolutely.
Come on.
First of all, do you need an award?
Did
Yes.
you see the black woman who went up there with one arm after her arm was shot off in Iraq and went on to finish her college education and go and work for the Veterans Administration to help others who had been through what she's went through?
now, was she an athlete?
She was a combat soldier
At the ESPYs, you mean?
at the ESPYs last night.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
the
showed
ultimate
her. They were
athleticism.
showing people who had courage.
Right. That were
And
okay.
that were
Viable
courageous and stuff.
candidates for the
Right.
The,
And
He
the
wasn't that
she-
courageous
award.
because he ain't cut his dick off. He
Right.
still got his dick.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But
Exactly.
that's next. He's just waiting
Well,
on.
okay, but-
after he does this new show, Caitlin, because
Look-
the dick removal is not unless you get a Lorena Bobbitt, it's a very expensive
Look,
surgery.
there's an agenda that has been
Dick removal.
identified some weeks ago with the inclusion of transgender in an address by Obama. We've seen the White House being lit in the colors of the rainbow in deference to the plight of the transgender. It has become a part of the inclusion of the other.
I think the rainbow is more for the gays, not is the transgender.
Well, evidently-
the gays saying that it's okay to be gay
to be
and
married,
marry in
right.
any state. That's
So
what
I'm saying.
those colors
So you're looking
were
at
for.
the agenda is becoming more and more inclusive, and in that is that agenda to bring everybody on the same, on somewhat of a level, which I don't know what that level is.
They're claiming they're doing it so they can reap the benefits of their spouses at like work.
You mean
when
like
they
joint
die.
household, joint
No, the
primary breadwinners
insurance,
in
when
one household?
When you have insurance, and
Right.
you know, your spouse
The
or
right to
whoever
insure your
gets
loved
half,
ones,
That, all of that.
Your husband or your wife they want to be able to have
That
everything.
is 500 pounds of bullshit.
And then
Okay.
they're gonna be just as many divorces, guaranteed.
I can have, Johnny, bruh, we've seen this is the second time I've seen you where you've seen me.
No
This is
doubt.
probably maybe the 98th time I've actually seen you.
No doubt.
Well, he's got clothes on.
Exactly. It's
So
the second time
it's
I've
a
seen you
free-
with clothes
yeah, that's
on.
one that counts.
Exactly.
Rise, rocket, and restore.
Do you realize that we could set up a trust and I could lock your family out and I would be the executor of your trust and handle all your shit for you if that's what I wanted to do?
Sure.
Now follow me for a 2nd. Okay? If you go to a building that is not a Pizza Hut and stand in front of a man who is not a plumber that holds a book that is not the Yellow Pages and says, according to the tenets of this book, you two are in a holy matrimony. Shouldn't what you do line up with this book? The Bible
see
is
what
not
you're
very,
saying.
and again, I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a Bible thumper at all. I'm a black man and a Christian. I have a black man and a reader. I can't figure out how to be a Christian with the first two. How can you, when the Bible's not very clear about what color car you ought to drive, but the whole thing about men with men and women with women is extremely clear. So I'm not saying gay people can't be together forever, that they can't do what they want to do. I'm not saying that.
But
I'm
to be
saying
married
It
in
makes
front
about
of
as
the
much
eyes
sense.
of God.
Thank you.
I just say-
it spits in God's face. It's almost like me trying to join the Klan. It makes about the same
I think
sense.
that this, what we're living in these days, has nothing on the book of Sodom and Gomorrah. So if you
Yeah,
We already there.
Oh, we
It's
passed
there.
them.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
surpassed
we-
them. They
yeah.
wasn't having sex
But when one-
changes in Sodom and Gomorrah.
If we're talking about the King James version, if you will, of the Bible, I mean that
It's a king who wrote his version.
right. That
Of
but I'm
the
saying the
Bible.
Bible
Puffy
has
remixes.
been there's been religious tomes, if you will, religious works of literary works that predate the Bible by thousands of years.
Bro. Come
Right.
on.
And so
That's
so
why
we
they
have
have
to
the
look.
old book and the new book.
And
No,
then of
no,
course
no, no.
even the books that aren't even included in the Bibles that we talk about today. So it is a
Right.
case. Maybe who knows? I mean, those books, those other Bibles, if you will, maybe they did have things of inclusion. I don't know.
No, and you know what? I say, do you? What I don't care if you get married. I wish we could go back to the days where they kept it in the closet.
Is it
I mean,
possible to have as strong a family then? Are we to accept that it is possible to have as strong a family if you have, people of the same gender?
I think
Versus,
they
I
should
just-
get married because at least you'll know there won't be any more down lows because they'll be married.
okay. So
But
you're saying that
there's
it's cool. You're saying-
always going to be down lows because there's always going to be people who are still afraid to let people know
I
that
think
they. I mean, it took Bruce Jenner 65 years. So
But that's because we aren't
because of
open to it.
society, right?
Yeah.
And still, they are.
Well,
Still
Magic Johnson's
places-
son, he's living his
still
life
places-
flamboyant as possible.
I think a huge part of the
His
down
son.
low.
His son, yeah.
His son, right? Because his father's
And the
Magic
luxury of
Johnson.
having wealth makes you
Right.
can do what you
exactly.
want.
No, no.
Exactly. But there are people who live in communities that are not accepting.
It's
My
magic.
cousin,
And if
my
I
cousin
allow-
Terrell is sweet as Christmas cookies, and that nigga is broke. So I don't think it had nothing to do with money. What it most profoundly has, especially the down low.
Is he flamboyant?
Oh my
your
God!
cousin?
Oh my God!
Where does he live?
Chicago.
Well, see, it's a
because
different,
that's
it's
a
a different
big
kind of
city.
vibe, though. It's a different
Everybody's
kind of
out in Chicago.
Okay,
That's a big
but-
city. You go to somewhere like Michigan, Flint, Michigan, not Detroit, some hick town, and you got a problem.
I mean, you
No,
know, he
no.
got a
Well,
little
then
rough
nigga
edge to him.
move.
you need to
He got a
move.
little rough
Move.
edge to him.
Right, if he
Yeah.
broke like your cousin, he can't move.
He can't. No, yeah. I was broke
So
too.
he keeps
I
it
moved.
under the covers.
I move. No, I'm gonna tell you. Here's my issue with a great much of. Fine, I'm not telling you how to live your life, open or closed. My problem with the down low, which to me is just low down, is a great much of it is about integrity, because a bunch of them, what nobody wants to be honest about, is that it's easier to walk into Vons and get 2 pounds of unicorn bologna than it is to get the HIV virus from a woman as a man. There is not one documented case of a straight dude. Every dude that's ever got that has been either gay or suspect that I have known.
Or a drug addict.
Or an IV drug user. So what really pisses me off the worst is that sisters are bearing the brunt of this because dudes are gay for the stay and coming home from prison giving it to y'all.
And
black women.
No, black women, and they have to take part of that too, because me as a black woman, I don't care how fine you are, where you work, if you ain't never been to jail, you using a condom on me because I am HIV free and I'm staying that way.
And you're gonna stay that way.
And I don't want to
absolutely.
hear your excuse about I didn't know I had it.
Right.
So to avoid all that,
Wrap it up.
I'll bring the glove. If
Right.
you ain't got a problem, and you know what, give me that Magnum because that's gonna come off. And take this
Yeah,
Trojan
yeah,
Junior.
yeah, because
Take this Trojan Junior.
Yeah.
So it'll stay nice
yeah,
and tight.
because you bullshit and you don't need to do nothing
Right.
with a Magnum
No,
but
yeah.
keep
So
changing
don't
it.
let
'cause
that
you-
be your excuse. Because he didn't protect me. No, you
Yeah.
can protect yourself.
Nigga got
You
magic
know.
condoms, pull a 22 out his pants.
It's
Nigga,
just
what is you
that-
doing?
I mean, if you really that in love and trusting your man, y'all go to the doctor together. Take that test, and if it come back good, have a good time.
Well, here's the fallacy.
no, we ain't-
Here's the fallacy is that HIV is everybody's disease. No, it isn't.
And people think it's because magic looks good that it's okay
Yeah,
now.
you want the magic?
It's
that,
not.
I don't
it's
think
not.
he ever had it.
I think he got
Can
it.
I get it?
I tell you what.
I don't think he ever had.
I
it.
still wouldn't do it to him, and I love magic.
I don't
but you-
because listen, I
I'm
saw
sorry.
something on Facebook. You know, Facebook can be a little skeptical, but I'm like, yo, they had Magic
Oh, wait,
Johnson like
where's
giving
this radio
blood.
go?
They had Magic Johnson giving blood, like, yo, he's donating to the bank,
Oh,
to the
really?
blood bank. Yeah, so I'm
This is
like,
for like
You know
now.
these
Yeah,
jokes,
now.
magic. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
I got love for Magic, but
love
I
you.
don't think the brother ever had it. Because I'm like, yo, dude,
Who would
like,
come out
because
as a spokesperson that didn't have it? Stop it.
Somebody
I
who's
don't
gonna get
As
an
much as
ass load of
Magic-
money.
Listen,
As much as
let me,
Magic loved
okay,
playing ball, he
check
wouldn't
this
have
out.
gave up
Check
the
this out.
ball.
Okay, now check this out. After all of that, look how Magic skyrocketed in businesses. All these Starbucks
Rallying
and all
behind,
that.
yeah.
And it couldn't have
Yeah.
been about money because Rock Hudson was just as rich. He did.
Well, I
There's
mean,
just
Magic was
plenty of
making
dudes
money, but
that had
he
it.
made
But they
more.
needed a
He made more.
spokesman.
He made more money after he said, "Oh, I got."
Announced it.
There you go.
I
So
can't
you
then
think
and then he
homosexuality
retired.
you think it's nature or nurture? 'Cause
Oh,
his son
come
is
on, bro.
flaming.
Come on, bro.
Well, you know, I really actually do think that there are some people born gay.
Absolutely.
I've seen kids
Absolutely.
that I said he's gonna be gay when he grows up.
You ain't supposed to use your tongue on the bottom.
Right,
You ain't
and
supposed to-
everybody sees that kid. You like he's gonna be gay.
Come on.
So
Yeah.
is there a
And no one
gene?
says it. You know, you look
out
at it like,
loud, but you look in your
yeah.
mind, you're thinking he's gonna be gay.
I
when
think that there
so
is.
there are some, and then there are a lot of people just experimenting for the sake
Okay,
of
but you know what?
experimentation.
Okay, but I'm gonna throw this back. Is it? Why is there like? Should we nurture then an individual to become who they are,
Yeah.
as
be
opposed to maybe
happy.
if you have a kid that seems to be a little sweet, and he wanted to play with guns or balls instead of dolls, then you force the balls and the toy guns into the crib instead of the dolls and the Raggedy Anns.
Well, you know they're gonna try that. They're gonna
No,
try that.
no.
Nobody wants their child to be gay, but
Listen.
once you've come to terms with
With
it,
it, then
Listen,
Then
as,
nurture
you
that
gotta
individual.
nurture.
as a man, and look, God rest my father's soul. Today was his birthday. Rest in peace, pops. But he told me one thing. He said, "Listen," he said, "I don't have anything because you know everybody got a gay member in their family." But my father told me this one time. I said, "Dad, I got to tell you something," and I told him what it was. But he was like, "Oh man, I thought you was gonna say that you were gay." And I was like, "Why do you think that?" He said, "Man, that would have hurt my heart, man." And I said, and I thought to myself, like, as a man,
well,
you
what did you
raising
tell
a
him?
son.
Because I want to know what you did.
I told him
tell
I was doing adult movies. But
Oh,
it was all
oh,
good.
okay.
He
Oh,
like,
you're a
woo!
movie star.
I mean, I get a discount on some of this
Yeah,
shit.
he
boy.
kind
Oh, I
of,
know
but
what's
he
your
thought I was
name.
going
I
to
didn't
tell
know
you,
you
because
did
you know
that.
when you sit down, you have like, yo,
Yeah,
pop.
I gotta
That was
tell you
heavy,
something.
yeah.
Pop, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
wow.
he's bracing like,
Yeah, like
oh,
either
Oh,
got somebody
here we go.
pregnant,
yeah,
or be a
Right.
grandfather or
yeah,
something.
When I
something
said that, he
weight.
was
Kill
like,
somebody?
yeah, he
Yeah.
was like, oh man, I thought you was gonna say something.
Please
He said,
God,
"Right."
please God,
Yeah,
please God.
exactly. Like he's sitting over there like,
He
door number
probably
one,
got
door
his
number
chest
one.
out a little bit when you said that.
But when he said that, it kind of like, wow, dude, like as a man raising a son, that could be one of the hurt, you know, that
It
could
can
like,
pack,
oh.
but you can get over that. Yeah, no man wants that, but
Okay.
you'll
That-
get
yeah,
over
that's
it.
my point.
And then you'll love.
But
You
why
don't want
take
your
'em through
child
it?
to die,
My
to kill
son,
themselves.
my oldest, I have 5 children.
Okay.
I have 3 that were with my first wife and 2 that were with my second wife.
Okay.
Of my oldest batch, my youngest son is openly gay. I
What's
love
overly
my
gay?
open.
Right.
No, that's funny.
open.
You, you crazy.
Oh, I got
Overly gay.
Overly.
No, he's openly gay.
No doubt.
Okay.
I love my son.
When
Right.
did he tell you?
He didn't have
Or
to.
you called him?
Come on. No, he was 2. I could. You ain't supposed to use your tongue on the bottom.
Oh.
I
But
could
you
tell
know-
a boy was
But
But you
what's
know
going
what?
on
But you know what?
as a kid?
But I love my son. I don't love my son.
But to rebut that is like you're from a different generation. You understand? My father was like when he told me this, he was in the
Right.
'60s, and
Right.
he coming from a generation
Old
like,
school.
Boy, what?
Right.
He that type of father,
Right.
like you know what I'm saying? So. But generational, I think it's generational now because
For
in the
sure.
'80s you could duck and hide, but now it's kind of like, yo, you gay? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but now there's no
Right, there's
need
so much.
to hide. If you
Yeah,
look at
because that's what I'm
some-
saying. It's
Because
starting to
people are
change.
more
There's a lot of
out with
Yeah, people
it
are more
now.
accepting of it
Yeah.
and
So,
everything.
right.
Does
But
that mean as people we have
maybe we're
evolved?
evolving.
Yeah, we have definitely evolved.
I would say I
and
would.
as not as a nation because everybody's not with the cake.
There you go. There you go. You
There are a
got
lot
people in the middle of
who-
America
I
who
respect
despise
you,
that.
but it's
Well,
It's not my
I
thing.
don't believe.
I think the agenda for inclusion, I do think, is a positive expansion. I don't think that we should continue to sever up our communities and thereby separating communities. You no longer have a community.
But okay,
Black
But you
people
know
don't
what?
have a
Even
community
though
at all.
we are not.
Well, I would argue that we do have a
we are
community.
not
I would argue that
segregated. We're
the African
still
American culture
segregated.
actually leads
Come on.
is a cultural tonic.
No.
We actually create culture. Look at the numbers, facets of American entertainment are headlined by black entertainers, if you will.
All cultural, nothing to do with community. The definition of a community is one centralized area of a people with a centralized economy. That's not black people. You can go to Koreatown anywhere. You can go to
Little
Chinatown
Italy,
anywhere.
little
no,
Italy.
you
and
can
Plymouth.
go to the hood anywhere, and that's our community.
That is not your community.
That's your
That is an
that's your-
experiment
that's your
that was
circumstances.
thrust upon you. That is
That
not.
cannot
we
be
have-
that was a community.
That cannot be
community.
said everywhere. That cannot be said everywhere. That is you're
An
equating that to the
experience.
plight of the Native American. Okay. That,
No, they have community.
Well, from that standpoint, you're saying that we're being forced into a particular area. That is putting the Native Americans on the reservations. That has not happened. If you look at white flight, that can lead to there being a black neighborhood because you have the white exodus.
The
The
blight.
black,
the-
I'm gonna tell you what, downtown LA,
Exodus, rather.
all the white people. I'm from LA. They
Right.
all moved out to the valley. Get
Right.
the hell out of here. Where all these black people were coming. Now they coming back. They are
Gentrification
back
of Harlem,
downtown.
as a matter of fact.
Because all the black people moved to the valley because they want to be where it's a better neighborhood where the white people at. Now
Here's-
they saying we're coming back. They buying lofts
Here's-
up the yin yang.
here's
Downtown LA, right.
3 blocks from Skid Row.
No, we saw it happen in Harlem. Believe me, I lived up in Harlem for 5 years, 5.5
You know
years.
what? You know who bought a house in Harlem?
The Clintons.
The Clintons.
Office, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
Here's why you don't have a black community. Because as soon as niggas get some money, they leave.
You better believe it.
They leave.
They trying to
That's
get
it.
away from
Okay.
this.
When you are
that?
trying, the desperation
from yourself.
to get away from your
No,
own
to get
people.
away from your negative environment.
No, well,
I
how
understand
about
Because
change
they
your
got
environment?
the crab in the barrel.
How about
menta-
change your
mentality.
environment?
I tell
I
you what I
disagree
saw
with that.
that was doing. Akon, who I want to give big ups to, has just
Yeah, shout out to
made
Akon.
a lot of money. And what he's doing with his own money, he's not even trying to promote it or anything, is he's taking money back to Africa and he's lighting villages with no light.
There you go.
So they can read books at night. So they can. He's lighting the
He's taking
stores
his
in
money
those
back.
villages,
Right.
so that they can, because these stores had to close when the sun go down because
Now,
there's
he
no light.
is African, though. Is he-
Yeah.
He's
is-
African.
okay,
So he's
right.
going back to
He's
his
going back.
community
Okay.
and he's doing it. But he left.
So he's
He don't
making his
live
money in
there.
the United States.
He
and
don't
then-
live
and then
there.
pulling it out of the economy. Certainly devaluing the black
can-
dollar by way of pulling
No.
it away from
And,
the
No.
and a lot of times
What
in the black-
devalues the black dollar is the fact that it only changes hands once before it leaves. The gross domestic product of black people in this
Right.
country is 17th in the world. That means there are countries that we have more money than. The problem is we spend it on Jordans, who, by the way, I have never seen Jordan come out and say, I'm sorry that people are killing themselves over my shoes. That we
I'm gonna
spend
give
them on
a giveaway. I'm gonna drop my shoes for $100 for the next month.
If you got
none of that.
3 kids, my shoes are $50 a piece.
Hell yeah.
I've never seen him do that. He
Not
also
one
owns
time.
private prisons. So that means when I kill you for Jordans and I go to prison, he makes money 360.
There you go.
So
There you go.
these are problems. That's
Are
what
us.
Thank you. This concept of voting has nothing to do with black people because black people don't own any politicians. You have to buy politicians.
Come on.
And before you can buy politicians,
Come on with
you
it.
need a finance base.
Step
and
with
before
it.
you can have a finance base, you need a community, which means motherfuckers that make money need to stop moving out the hood. You need to keep like
Okay,
your
they'll
boy
do
Spike.
that when the people that live in the hood stop because what they have
That's
is the
the
crab
chicken
and the
and the
mirror.
egg.
Look, they see
That's
you
the
got it
chicken and
going
the egg.
on. They waiting for you to come home so they can rob you. You need to tune in to Investigation ID and see why people get
I
the hell
know
out
why,
when they
Mel.
make a
But
couple
I
of
tell you,
dollars.
Minister
It's
Louis
dangerous.
Farrakhan lives smooth in the hood, right in the middle of it.
Oh,
and he
and
always
he's
wait,
gated,
wait.
and he's got security.
Surely enough. And-
this was before he had security. When he had money.
Yeah, but Jeff, I'll ask you. I'll venture you this then. Why did you say that? Why is it that only black people are not allowed to move out of the hood after we make money? Do you think that the white comeuppance means that they stay in their neighborhoods as well?
I
don't stay in their trailer parks.
I
Ask
think
me that question.
I think the
They
moving.
moving out to
I was
trailer
saying
parks, and they going to the valley.
relocating from one financial position to another.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, requisite does sometimes require moving out of your present
You can
position.
still
I can
help
answer
your
that.
community
I
without
can
living
answer
there.
That's not a black white.
I
That's
can
not a black
answer
white
that
Latino
from
Asian
two
thing.
places. I can answer
Is it
that
not? That's
from-
economic. That's not color related.
I got 2 answers.
Poor
for
white
that.
people don't stay in the trailer park in
answer it.
Oklahoma.
Okay, let's hear your answer, sir.
One, I don't have the latitude to pay attention to what poor black people
No,
do.
everybody
Poor white-
listening doesn't know what latitude.
Okay. I don't have it. The concept of paying attention to what white people do is too expensive for me as a black man. That's like me standing on my porch telling you your grass is too high while my fucking house is on fire.
Well, I
Okay.
cannot find myself being unaware of a person that's posed against me.
I'm gonna need-
To know one's enemy is to be able to defeat
that's
one's
not
enemy.
true because
Okay.
they're sitting up there
And-
watching all the TV shows. What's the one where the guy comes on and shows all the millionaires and where they live and all that bullshit.
Oh yeah, the what
That-
lifestyles of the,
Lifestyles of the rich and
It's
famous.
not
So we're watching.
what they air.
Kardashians.
It's what you watch. It's not what they air.
Right,
It's what
but
you
that's
watch.
what they're putting out there for
I
us to
grew up.
see.
I was 23 when crack hit. Never had any.
Me either.
Okay, so it's not what's out there;
Right.
it's what you let in. Why is moving away? Again, your question
I'm
was
saying moving
I
away.
can't wait till he get his show with NBC next year, and I want to see if he stay where he at.
who me?
You.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, well, no,
see.
I'm not saying. What I was saying is that black people are not the only people that leave their current environment as their economic
can't-
situation
My people
ascends.
are
Addressing his
bleeding.
people.
I don't. I hope you're watching this. If you are of any other color than African American, if the Klan would not hang you if they caught you, I'm not talking about your problems.
Hey.
My people are dying. I don't give a fuck about poor white people and what they're going through. Because you can change your circumstances by washing your ass and showing up at Jack in the Box for 6 months. They'll make you manager.
Now, see.
I
Now, here's my rebuttal on that. 'Cause
Absolutely.
I'm listening to everything else saying. Now, wouldn't you think, like, okay, you came up, right? You living in the hood. Now, your paychecks have grown. So wouldn't you think that you would grow also? Like, okay, because my situation is looking sticky. Because let me tell you something. I used to listen to them rappers, and they'd be like, oh, I'll never leave Queensbridge houses. As soon as they got paid, they was up out of Queensbridge houses. Because you know why?
Why?
Because they know. Because I don't know if
they
it's just
can have a
black
house
neighborhood.
now.
Because it's kind of like okay, it's the have-nots and the haves.
Okay, but peep this.
And
What Jeff-
and people
what Jeff
become
said
very
earlier-
I understand what he's saying. People become very jealous of you when you're
Yes,
trying to
they
better
do.
yourself.
You better
Now,
believe
here's the
it.
thing: you can move out, But you can also come back and help. You can
Sure.
But see,
Yeah.
that's the point I'm
But I don't have to
making.
live
See,
amongst it.
right.
I
You
don't have to live amongst
live
that.
in a community.
Yeah, I don't have to live amongst
Okay, here it is,
that.
Jeff.
Well, I
What
don't
Jeff
have to
said
live
earlier
because I'm endangering myself.
about our situation. Okay, money is power. Knowledge and money is power. And if we are just, if we don't produce, create, or manufacture,
Shit.
we don't have
Yeah,
the
I agree
power.
with you on that.
So if you make your money and you move out, cool. But let's have some infrastructure in that community. Let's have some businesses in that community. Let's support those businesses
I agree
so
with
we
you.
can keep the money
Okay.
there.
Right.
Spike
I don't-
Lee-
I don't have to live
Spike
there.
Lee is
I
rich.
can give back.
Spike Lee is rich. Spike Lee still lives in Bed-Stuy.
In the
Yeah,
nice
but he
part
don't
of
live in the
Bed-Stuy,
same
and a
part.
nice brownstone.
moved.
He ain't in the pardon me. Oh, pardon me. Oh, my bad.
Well, look, on that note,
Yeah,
we're going to
he's in the
prepare to
brownstone. He
wrap
ain't in the
up.
projects.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
whole thing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah, you
Man.
just knocked something over with something big,
Beautiful.
long, and black. That's,
and we've had a great conversation this evening. As we prepare to sign off on this
bad.
evening, I like Jeff. Surely, everybody, Melanie, where are you guys going to be at? Where can people catch you coming up? We do have to close ourselves out this evening. Where can we follow you? Where can we find you on TV? What have you?
as of Monday, I have my own radio show with Zoe Williams called Zoe Web Morning Show. Starting a new YouTube channel called Jeff Brown. Dig that. Writing D.L. Hughley's next stand-up special for him or with him.
Thank God. That's what's
Writing some. I'm writing some shit with Stop Fool. I'm writing some stuff with D.L. You'll see a couple of projects that I'm producing that are very close to being picked up.
All
That's what's
right.
up.
Well, hey, I'm Melanie Camacho. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that. It's COMARCHO. It is not Camacho like the Mexicans. I like Mexicans, but my name is Marcho. Follow me all over the country. I'm on tour right now with the great, hilarious Mr. Martin Lawrence. Yeah. We'll be in Phoenix on the 20. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We'll be in San Antonio, Texas on the 24th, and we'll be in Phoenix on the 26th. Chicago, Illinois, I think it's the 29th and the 30th. Just
Don't miss it.
go and follow us, and don't miss out on this hot, great show. You guys,
What's up?
all over.
PCW Fit, everywhere. PCW Fit.
Yeah, get your 6-pack from Andre, because he's got an 8-pack here.
It is.
I'm working.
FormulaR3.com, the male enhancement that I'm endorsing. Y'all go out and pick that up. It's all natural.
And I seen his. It works.
She loves. She'll love you in the morning.
I don't know if you got any
I'm
Johnny
kidding.
Depp
I don't
porno.
even- I've never seen a
But Johnny
porno
Depp,
ever,
I've
so
seen
I
it. His
don't
dick so hard a cat can't scratch it.
I don't watch
Melanie, I
get
do
that.
apologize for
I'm kidding.
misspelling your name on our outline for tonight. But for all the good people here on the Man Cave, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight and tuning in. We're here every Thursday night. Tune in. I'm Lex Steele at Lex Steele Live.
Get that shit.
And at Man Cave Live, Lexington.Steele. This is the Man Cave. Thursday nights coming up on a Thursday.
Straight talk from our perspective. This is Man Cave Live with your host Lexington Steele and co-host Andre Lavelle and Johnny Depp on LA Talk Radio. Let's get it in.